It took a while, but I finally found one of my most anticipated McFarlane figures of this entire year, and, well, I'm just hoping it's going to turn out well. From DC Multiverse by McFarlane Toys, and more specifically the Gold Label collection, this is the Target exclusive Sinestro Core Batman. And here's the weird thing about this costume, right? It has been in DC Universe Classics, it's been in the Multiverse series now, it's been in Imaginext. You can use it as an alternate skin in Arkham City and, I think, Arkham Knight. It is a very well-regarded alternate costume to Batman, and yet this showed up for a panel, and then Batman rejected the ring and it went and picked up Scarecrow. It's kind of weird that there's so many media and toy depictions of Batman in this costume, even though it's kind of almost like a missing scene kind of costume. Meanwhile, we've never gotten a toy version of Green Lantern Batman, to my knowledge, despite the fact that there's a whole comic book called Batman Darkest Night about a Green Lantern Batman, and there's also, like, an episode of Batman the Brave and the Bold where there was a Green Lantern Batman. Don't get me wrong, I love Sinestro Core Batman. I think it makes more sense for Batman to be Sinestro Core than Green Lantern Core, but it's really weird that this is always the direction taken. Has anyone else gone to the point where they just throw away the card in the display stand because they have literal mountains of them at this point, or is that just me? Getting the figure out of box, it is undeniably cool. There's a handful of QC issues to talk about, but there's one thing that's kind of nagging me, right? This is a Sinestro Core Batman. We have a Sinestro Core Batman in this line before we have a Sinestro. I know that supposedly there's like a leaked Sinestro on the Multiverse McFarlane like toy listings. Can't wait for it, I want a Sinestro. But still, is it that much of a priority to get the one panel reference shot over, one of the main DC villains and characters in general? I don't know. Then closer look, and I really like this head sculpt. The long ears and the kind of sunken-in scowl really work, and it's unique to any head sculpt we've gone from the other McFarlane Batman. That said, the DC Universe Classics figure chose to give a screaming head sculpt, like full mouth open fury, and that's also the face that you see on the card for this toy. So, even though I like this Batman head sculpt, I think I would have preferred to get that screaming expression, because when you get down to it, most Batmen look like this in terms of the facial expression. Having an angry head sculpt would have been kind of unique. There's also pretty good painting for the emblem here in the center. That said, mine is slightly misaligned, just ever so slightly, and also some black streaks in the yellow. That's kind of unfortunate. Over on the armband, that looks pretty solid. So overall, the more technical points to hit all came out pretty well, even if there are some, quibbles. The yellow ring is sculpted into the hand. It looks nice, though it's just a yellow blot. It would have been cool if maybe they actually tried to sculpt in the Sinestro Core logo, but, $20 figure. And also, the belt is very cool, very shiny. I also like things like how he kept his gauntlets and his kind of more military-esque boots. So overall, I do love how this design, as brief as it was used, combined aspects of Batman's usual design with the standard Sinestro Core look. Again, it's just really weird that we now have so many figures of this one blink and you miss it look. In all honesty, my favorite thing about this figure is this, the yellow construct that would have been made by the ring. So, as you can see, it's sculpted in. It's a series of bats just kind of erupting out, but the bats themselves are formed out of this almost like octopus tendril, which, for whatever reason, the Sinestro Core, constructs always look like they're being made out of tentacles. I assume that's like a Cthulhu, Eldritch Abomination kind of thing. But it's really cool to see it transition. You can see this one bat down here is still mostly tentacle, and you just see the beginnings of the head forming. This is such an awesome accessory to get, and it does fit onto Batman pretty well. As you can see, there's basically a big hole through the middle. You just slide that onto the hand. Boop, boop. So you have one tendril going over the upper arm, one going over the wrist, and there you go. You got bats flying at you. I'm not gonna lie, I like this figure a lot, and even if it's a costume I think is a bit overused, I think it's the best version of this costume we've ever gotten in figure form, especially due to the accessory it comes with. Would I have liked a Sinestro, or maybe a more unique character who hasn't had as many figures as, well, Batman? Well, yeah. Would I have preferred a Green Lantern Batman even? Honestly, absolutely. But for what it is, I think this is a legitimately great Batman figure. If I were to do my top 10 Batman list, this guy would be on that list now because of how solid it is. But with all that said, once again, sometimes it's easier to think of this as Batman Multiverse over DC Multiverse, and it's getting a little bit tiresome how, 4 years into the toy line, there's more than half of it feels like it's just Bruce Wayne.